What's up, neighbor? Welcome to my shop. Today, we are going to make a Chevron cutting board. And you're thinking, what's so special about that? Well, it's a few extra glue-ups, plus they look nice. So, come along. Won't you be my neighbor? So, Chevron cutting board. Why a Chevron cutting board? And what exactly is that? I don't even know if I'm saying the right name. That's just what I call it. You know the shirt that Charlie Brown wears, and it's got that squiggly line all the way across? It's basically like that. So, Chevron cutting board just sounds better than a Charlie Brown cutting board. Basically, I got an order for one on my Etsy store. I'll put a picture of one right here. That's what we're gonna make. So, we're gonna start by cutting up some rough lumber, and we'll go from there. I had to re-look at the board on my website because I don't remember exactly how it made it, but luckily I have pictures. It's gonna take 21 strips, and I got it all right here. So, let's get to cutting. All right, this board is gonna consist of walnut, mahogany, maple, and wingay. We're actually going to substitute out the wingay for Peruvian walnut. Basically, I just need a darker brown than what walnut is, and I have a bunch of Peruvian walnut that I hardly ever use, so we're gonna use that. And because of the nature of the board, we need to cut our strips longer than they need to be. You'll see why in a little bit. So we're gonna need several pieces at about 24 inches. These are all going to be kind of separate thicknesses. I want to keep as much thickness on these boards as possible, so I'm going to do them individually so that I can maintain that. Because I order my wood rough, keep the jokes to yourself, you degenerates. Because I do that, I have to put a straight line on here. Oh my God, words are hard. So I'm gonna run these through my jointer to get a nice straight edge on one side. Let's go. Okay, table saw time. My favorite. I want this board to be a little on the thicker side. I usually do these at about 1.25 inches thick. At least that's where we're gonna start. We might end up a little thinner than that with the flattening and the planing process, but that's what we're gonna do. 1.25 inch strips on the table saw. Let's go. Put a good edge on each one of these boards. So I just kind of want to have those all on the same side. And they are. Looks like. I think it might be time to change the table saw blade. And we're back. It's like nothing ever happened. I had the right blade on the whole time, you guys. It's fine. I'm a professional, okay? All right, now that we got all the strips cut to 1.25 inches, we actually need to take these out because we have to make a second cut on them. We're gonna slice them down now to 1/4 inch. Let's go. Okay, so one of the things I did was I wrote down the order that the strips go in. So Now we need to do that. Hopefully I can read my own handwriting. A walnut, mahogany, maple, walnut, Wingay, walnut, Wingay. Isn't this exciting? Mahogany, maple, mahogany, maple, mahogany, maple. It's mahogany. All right, and then you just go backwards. There's the pattern. Get out of here. All right, let's go over to the workbench. See, I told you I could carry it in all one go. All right, you could stop here and you'd have yourself a beautiful board if you just glued this up like this, but we're gonna take it one more step. You're gonna need one of these bad boys. They call it a square. I don't know why. It's a triangle. You tell me. Whatever. So now we have a good reference there. Basically, I just want to line these up. We're gonna glue it up like that. And you'll see why in a second. I need a pencil. It ain't gotta be exactly 45. We just gotta be kind of somewhere. I'm gonna put a reference line on here. Make sure you get the part where I made it real nice. It's all about precision here at the DDW shop. Glue up time. You could use a roller, but rollers suck. Use the best glue device money can buy right here, your finger. We're gonna use, let's just say we're gonna use a cutting board safe glue. I'm not gonna give that company any more pub than they need. Be liberal with the glue. Nice and liberal. I don't want any fighting in the comments. Alright, and this is what those lines are for. So they can keep me on track here. Lines aren't super necessary, but they sure help in the glue up process. We are there. Woo! First things first, we're going to clamp the middle. Oh God, that's wider than I thought. As with any glue up, you just want a nice even squeeze out. Don't want to starve the joints by over clamping. Try to keep everything as flat as possible. Occasionally it needs a little persuasion in the middle. One more 18-incher. More 12-inchers. Some 6-inchers. Wah! One last thing before I get too much hate. Actually, there's a debate on whether or not you should clean up your glue up like this with water. I do, because I think it saves on the knives on my machines. Tell me in the comments what you would do here. Would you leave it as is? Would you wipe it with a dry towel? Would you wipe it with a wet towel? All right, that's a good place to leave it for the day. We'll come back tomorrow. In YouTube time, it'll be like nothing, but for Sutton and I, it's gonna be like 24 hours. See you then. Day 2, we're gonna take off the clamps and get to work. Just like that. Easy as pie. So the next thing we got to do is run this through the planer, clean it up, and then make some more cuts. And the planer. Remember, if you don't have a planer, you can always do this by hand with a hand plane, like a masochist. Why would you do that? That's crazy. Alright, back to the bench. We're gonna need a track saw. You don't have a track saw. I get it. Use a miter saw, use a circular saw with a guide. I'm gonna use a track saw because I have one and they're nice. And you should have one. You really should. Invest in one, especially if you're gonna do this moderately. Or not, whatever. Get a track saw, okay? Track saw. Now I have a Festool track saw. You obviously don't need that. The Win track saw you can get on Amazon is actually pretty good. Craig makes a track saw that's pretty affordable. Just get something. Trust me, it's a game changer. Anyway, let's get to work. At the table saw, this is where you get to decide how thick your strips are going to be. And this is why we needed the track saw or something with a guide, because you need this edge to be as smooth as possible. I like to get my strips about the same thickness as my board, which is 1.25 inches. So that's what we'll set it up for. And this micro jig gripper comes in super handy for this, because like a regular push stick right here won't want to grab that real well, but this has that grippy surface and it's super helpful. Now we're going to carry them all over to the bench and hopefully not drop them. It's not imperative that we keep them in order, but it will be handy for sure. And then flip every other one. And then whoop, whoop, whoop. Just like that, baby. I think we got more board than we need, actually. So the cut on that one is not great. So I could actually take those two out. Bring those back. And we're still good. More gluing up. Let's go. All right, as Sutton likes to say, time to glove up. Do not be stingy with the glue, because I guarantee you, if you go down to the comments, there are going to be people talking about how this is a really weak glue joint. It's not as strong as like an edge-to-edge glue joint, that's for sure, but for our purposes, it's plenty strong. I mean, what are you doing on this? It's a cutting board. It's not a tabletop where you're going to have a dance party. Relax. It's fine. Okay. Let's go. Do not be stingy with the glue. One could even make the argument that gluing both sides would be called for here, but I think that's too much, because we're going pretty heavy with the glue on this. Here we go. Now, lining up those seams is key, man. Key. The trick is going to be to keep them lined up as you clamp them. Right there. Look at all that squeeze out. That's perfect. Let's check the lining. Lining. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. How's that looking right there? I mean, theoretically, if it's lined up in the middle, it should be lined up the whole way. But you know what they say about theories? I don't know. Gravity's just a theory. Yeah? Walk off a building and see what happens. It's just a theory. We're still lined up. Very good, very good, very good. This feels like it needs another clamp. Guess what? We wait some more. Yay! But we've done this so early today that we might be able to come back to it today and we can get this done today. Fingers crossed. Day 19. I think we're down to the final steps. I don't think, I know actually, because I've done this before, believe it or not. All right, clamps are off. Basically, all we got to do now is clean it up and square it off. Obviously, we can't keep these corners on here, so we are so close to being done. There we have it. I always enjoy the way this turns out. It's a beautiful looking board. It's perfectly strong for its purposes. If you like this style of board, I highly recommend you go check out the IG handle, Colors of the Wood. They do a lot of boards like this and they always look beautiful. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, all that business. Thank you for watching once again, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.